Ukraine remains under attack from advancing and unprovoked Russian forces fighting their way to the capital, Kyiv. The United States and Western allies increased sanctions in recent days against Russia's financial infrastructure, targeting banks like VTB and Sberbank, which are the country's two biggest and account for half of the country's banking system.
The sanctions that we announced yesterday are on par, put Russia on par with Iran, cutting them off from a banking system with the global community. We have now also sanctioned 80% of their banks and their financial sector. This makes it very difficult for President Putin and the Russian government not only to do business, but also to help fund a greater expansion of their military and greater expansion of innovation in their country.
Russian President Vladimir Putin, who ordered the invasion of Ukraine on Thursday, called the sanctions unfriendly and ordered nuclear deterrence forces on alert, signaling an increased preparation for launch.
This is a full-fledged, unjust war. And I think it's time for many American businesses also to think. I know how hard it is, and I know this is business interest. As the former Minister of Finance, I understand. But I think it's time to think about saving reputations and not cooperating with a regime that will end up in The Hague for everything they've done and they're doing now to Ukraine.
This comes after Ukrainian forces, many of whom were civilians at this time last week, have so far resisted Russian efforts to advance on the capital or topple any major city. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry released this unverified video claiming to show a drone strike destroying a Russian military convoy. The calls for reinforcements continue.
It's time to remove all Russian financial institutions from the international payment system. It's time to impose sanctions on his oil and gas exports, which he uses as his primary means of financial support. We need to rush those weapons that were announced for delivery yesterday to the front. Anti-tank, anti-aircraft missiles, sniper rifles, ammunition, fuel supplies. It should have been done weeks ago, so better late than never, but the Ukrainians have no time.
Ukraine has agreed to meet for peace talks with Russia without preconditions at a spot along the border with Belarus. Around the world, pro-Ukraine demonstrations call for peace, including in Washington, where U.S. President Joe Biden is scheduled to deliver his State of the Union speech Tuesday before a joint session of Congress. Arash, Arabasadi, VOA News, Washington.